It is an absolute joy to be here to witness Sara and Brandon enter into the beautiful sacrament of holy matrimony. And it's appropriate that they decided to get married here at St. Philip and James, right near Johns Hopkins University. Not simply because they met at Hopkins or they spent most of their relationship here, but because if there is ever a Hopkins couple, Sara and Brandon are it.
I first heard about Brandon during a crisis. Now, this was a small crisis, but it seemed big at the time. Sara, being a computer major in science, a computer engineering and science major, called to say that her computer malfunctioned. And what should I do? I need it for my schoolwork. So Rebecca and I put our heads together. We're trying to figure out how are we going to get a loaner computer from Medford down to Baltimore. And then Sara called back and said, this boy from her class is lending her a computer while his gets repaired. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, how can he loan one? Doesn't he need it for class too? Who is this guy?
Before they started dating, Brandon, as a good chivalrous man, accompanied Sara to go pick up her laptop, which needed to be fixed. But first, they had to decide whether they were going to skip class. Now, if you're anything like me or a normal person, you would just skip class and leave it at that. But not Sara and Brandon. They needed to decide whether or not to skip class.
Now, as the story progressed, he missed class twice. Now, forgive me, Father, but, and for those that know Brandon, missing class is like hell freezing over. So he helped her drop it off and pick it up. So now I'm thinking, this isn't some boy. So then when did I actually meet this boy? Well, it was Easter of 2018. We planned to visit Sara at Johns Hopkins so she wouldn't be lonely on Easter. Our plan was simple. We would drive down on Sunday, we would go to Mass at St. Philip and James, and then we would have brunch at the Johns Hopkins Club. Rebecca made reservations for 3 and our plan was set. Or so we thought. Oh, you look so beautiful. Oh my gosh, you look so great. Oh, it's so pretty. Hey, buddy. You look so beautiful. Oh wow, it's amazing. So a few days later called and said, can I bring a friend to brunch? Not one of her girlfriends, this boy. This guy named Brandon. So Rebecca says okay and calls back the Johns Hopkins Club and she increases the reservation to 4. Sara calls again. Brandon's mom is going to be in town for Easter. Can we invite? Now I'm thinking, who is this guy? I haven't even met him yet. Now I'm going to meet his mother? Like, could this be serious? Before Mass started, Brandon comes up to me with that great big warm smile that Brandon has, shakes my hand and says, hi, Mr. Weil, I'm Brandon. And I knew I was in trouble. You good?
Yeah.
I'm good too.
Good.
I could not imagine that 5.5 years later, standing in that church, that I would be in that same church on their wedding day.
But for those of you who are married, you know that it is not an easy calling. Because the gift of self takes place not just when they take vows, because as nervous as you are, that, as we know, is the easy part. It occurs each day, even when they don't feel like it, even when they are upset with one another, they are called to love one another. And it is this faithful love, through good times and through bad times, that reminds all of us of Christ's love for his church. Now, Sarah and Brandon aren't alone in imitating Christ and his church, because Christ is at the center of their marriage. It is his grace that makes it possible. And the gospel passage that we just heard reminds us of this fact. And it's very providential because it not only is the gospel passage that marks the beginning of their married life, but it also happened to be the gospel passage on the day they got engaged.
I, Brandon, take you, Sarah, to be my wife
I, Sarah, take you, Brandon, to be my husband,
all the days of my life.
all the days of my life.
Married couple as one, may they be in the triune God. May God be in them. May they love one another, not just human love, our Lord prays, but with the divine love, with the love of the Father, the Son. That is our Lord's prayer for them. It is the grace he gives them today and every day.
There is no one I know who is actually more steady, more dependable, more loyal. And the love you have for Sara is obvious in everything you do.
But honestly, everyone can see that Sara is Brandon's soulmate. They say you don't marry the person you can live with, you marry the person you can't live without. That pretty much sums up Brandon and Sara perfectly.
Lay down their lives as two individuals, and they will take up their new life as one, their new life as husband and wife. And so just as we heard our Lord Jesus Christ pray for them, let us also pray for them as they embark on this beautiful vocation.